All right. We will, it is now 3 o'clock on the hour. We will convene the House Committee on Special Rules. I want to start off by saying thank you to the committee members. As everyone's well aware, Special Rules has a committee jurisdiction of state symbols and study committees. And though we might not recognize the necessity for symbols on our day-to-day basis, that these are the kinds of things that shape our community and instill a sense of pride and joy to all Georgians. So I'm very proud we have three bills that are going to be testified. Prior to that, I have asked our vice chair to lead us in prayer, and as well as a moment of silence at the end for Chairman Smith, who I could think of as no better of a symbol of what we are here to represent. Vice Chairman.
If you'll bow with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. We come to you asking for guidance and wisdom and your support as we begin this meeting. Help us to make good decisions for the people of Georgia. And now let us have a moment of silence for Richard Smith. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right, Representative Hagan, noting you're having to go to another committee as well, go ahead and if you'd like to present House Bill 1026, a familiar bill to this committee, at least in this iteration.
It's true. It is a familiar bill, and I thank you for letting me present it to you all today. I appreciate your words, Chairman, sayings about our state symbols and the importance that they have. This one, it's important to the people of Lyons because the sense of community spirit around this derby is incredible in the town of Lyons. In fact, the water tower in the town has the Derby car on it. And it's also important to kids around the state and to around the country, too. They had a rally race not too long ago, a few weeks ago, and I asked the director of the race to send me a list of the different states that children came from to race. We've got California, West Virginia, Nebraska, Florida, North Carolina, and Missouri. And this wasn't even for the big race. This was just for a rally race there. So this race that we have, the Southeast Georgia Soapbox Derby in Lyons, really is a popular race around the country. The track is recognized in the top 10, and I know they've put some investment in it in the past year and a half, so it potentially is even higher than that. So I do think that it's appropriate that we would name this Soapbox Derby our official one for our state. It's got a huge impact on kids' lives. It doesn't matter if you are boy or girl. If you're 7 to 20 and you want to race, you can race in this derby. In fact, they even have a super kids race on Friday before the big race where intellectually and developmentally challenged children can race, and it is really special. They have special cars that are built and provided for them. They're 2-seaters, so they can have a driver with them if that's what they need. And that's it. It's a great program for kids. It's a great draw for this local community, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have for it, but I feel like I've talked about this nonstop for 2 years now, and I do hope that you will help me get it across the finish line for once and for all. So thank you very much.
Well, I know and this isn't the transportation committee, but I also know it's a very fuel efficient way to get around town.
In fact, it is gravity fed.
But we do have 2 questions from the committee, and I do appreciate that noting lines 25 through 28. Department of Economic Development speaks on creating a storytelling for your communities, especially our rural communities, in terms of revitalizing and incentivizing tourism. So I appreciate your commitment to this bill for a couple of years. So we will start with our Vice Chairman, Ballinger.
I was just going to say at the appropriate time.
All right, and we'll get there. 15, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How many soapbox derbies are in just to give an idea of how big it is or whatever? How many would you have in it?
Drivers in the Southeast Georgia soapbox derby,
The
or derbies around the
Well,
state?
the derbies that are there for this event.
Okay, drivers from this event, it's an average of about 50. And they have rally races and the big derby race. Several rally races throughout the year, and then the big derby race is in late April, early May. They have an average of 50. At this last rally race, they had 40 drivers.
Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, is there any member of the public who would like to speak on this bill? Seeing no hands raised, a quick question before we take that motion. I think of the Little Rascals when I think of soapboxes. Would you remind the committee who won the Little Rascals soapbox race prior to making that motion?
Mr. Chairman, I regret that I do not recall the winner of that race, but I do have a story I could tell, if you'd like to hear it.
Would you like to tell a story or have the motion made?
I'd love a motion.
Vice Chairman Ballinger? Ballard. I don't know where I got that.
Move do pass.
Second. Any comments from the committee? Seeing no comments, all in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. Thank you for this bill as presented, and we hope that it stays that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
All right. We are going to go to Chairman Casey Carpenter, who I hope I haven't had some cornbread in a while. I hope I can understand the subject enough to feel competent enough to vote on this bill. Is anyone else hungry? Well, Mr. Chairman, if you would like to present House Bill 1048.
I appreciate you very much for having me today. Obviously, this is a heavy subject. House Bill 1048, making cornbread the official bread of the state of Georgia. I think the interesting thing about cornbread is it actually came from our Native American heritage. Obviously, we had a huge contingency of Cherokee up in northwest Georgia, so our cornbread's pretty good. I would challenge it's some of the best in the state. Cornbread is important for not only restaurants, but served at Granny's house on Sundays. Most people are too lazy to cook it on their own, so they usually go to Cracker Barrel or a restaurant like myself and buy it. It goes great with beans and greens. And obviously there's mills around the state that are discussed in the legislation that supply the product to make cornbread. Obviously there's a lot of people that prefer yellow or white. Sugar, no sugar, those conversations can be had, but traditional cornbread in the South has been white. And the sugar, no sugar, that's a Yankee thing. But actually, when they changed the mills a few years ago, I say a few years ago, early 1900s, they went from the stone mills to the steel mills, the steel grinding rollers. It actually changed the corn. The traditional corn was sweet. And so adding sugar to cornbread was because the process changed and the sweetness of the corn was ground too hard out of the product. So that's why people started adding sugar to cornbread, and also the adding eggs, etc., to help give some more consistency because the milling process changed. So just a little note for you, a little tidbit. I'd love to take any questions.
Thank you. I personally prefer how Grandma Jiffy makes it. But let's go, Chairman Donahue, number 17 or 9?
Chairman, a couple questions here. You were supposed to bring cornbread, a bowl, milk, and spoons. Where is it?
That'll happen if perchance rules sees it in their divine intervention to let this thing to the floor, this great legislation, then I will be providing cornbread and pinto beans in the anteroom for all you folks to enjoy. And you can critique my cornbread. Obviously, a lot of people add corn to cornbread or sweet cream corn to it, jalapenos from Hispanic brethren. But this will just be straight up good cornbread with some fine pinto beans.
And, Mr. Chairman, if I could, I would like to add, in my area up here in northeast Georgia, where you come into Prater's Mill County Fair in Whitfield County, an amendment there to put Nora's Mill in Helen, Georgia.
Okay, yeah, on line 18, somewhere like that.
Yes,
Be good.
sir.
Yeah, that's fine with me. The more mills, the better, baby.
Representative Taylor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question to make sure I'm clear. We're talking about skillet, iron cast skillet cornbread,
No.
not the patties, not the little hoe cakes.
Yeah, we do cornbread muffins at my place, but I do like skillet cornbread as well. Yeah,
Okay, all right.
some people do a little crackling cornbread.
No.
No, some people do now. We can't.
I-
That's what
I-
I'm saying. It's a diverse cooking methods. So
Well,
I think
as
we
Mr.
gotta, as a state, we gotta be open to all kinds of cooking
Well,
techniques.
I just in opposition to Mr. Chairman, you can keep the jiffy.
Yeah. I probably.
I'm looking forward to the skillet cornbred and the pinto beans. Thank you.
Well, let's go over to how the Greeks do it. Chairman Chokas?
Oops, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I mean, Mr.
Now we're not
Chairman.
talking about pita bread over there. Now take it easy on us.
Well, I was thinking about maybe changing it. No, in all sincerity, as chairman of the Small Business Development Committee and having one of my members there present the other day, at the appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion.
But prior to that, Representative Adina?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, in your infinite wisdom,
Whoa, you lost me at infinite wisdom.
knowing this is a global staple, do you estimate that this will be a good item that will increase tourism in the state?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it also it reflects the diversity of the state, right? Because the Native Americans grew the corn, made cornbread, grew the corn, made cornbread, and it came back across to Africa and became a big dish there as well. Obviously under different cooking techniques, but the same premise. So I think it's something that brings the diversity of the state of Georgia together under one bowl of goodness.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. One last question, Representative Carpenter. I'm from St. Simons. We have some really good cornbread down there on the coast. One of the restaurants is Barbara Jane's, and in her infinite wisdom, not to steal a line from my friend over there, but they serve cornbread and rolls and pumpkin bread on the table as soon as you order at no cost. Is that okay to kind of have that mix in there, and do you support that?
Yeah, I mean,
Barbara
I
Jean's
support.
doing that?
Everybody
Free
supports
cornbread?
a bowl of breads. I'm just saying, when in Georgia, the king bread would be my.
So the cornbread is the key component of that
That's
basket.
right. That's exactly right. And I don't know why they still put. That's a lot of waste. Tell them they need to be cutting back. It's margins
pretty
are
good.
tight in the restaurant business. The days of unlimited bread on the table need to be gone. So
Well, I can support that limitation, and so could my tie button extender. With that, Chairman Chokas, a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like for us to give the due pass designation to HB, hold on a minute, 1048 LC 365680.
Second? Second. Do we have any comments from the committee? 17?
Yes. And I would like to add the amendment in 18 and Nora Mill in Helen, Georgia.
Line 18?
Yes, sir, after Turnpike Mill.
Now, you want to add, clarify, after Logan Turnpike Mill on line 18, you want to add?
Nora Mill, Helen, Georgia.
Okay.
Just NORA?
Yes,
Okay.
N-O-R-A Mill.
Is there any opposition to that from the author? Or is that a
no, that's fine. I just maybe I would put them. I don't know if they're a modern mill. I think they're more of a historic mill. So you
They
might
are.
want to put them back like Prater's Mill, Nora's Mill, Berry College Mill. I think you slide it back in there around line 16 would be clear. And maybe not necessarily say Helen, just once they know what Nora
White
Mill
County.
is, they should know.
So like in front of Prater's Mill is your suggestion?
Yeah, in front of it, after it, wherever. I'm fine with that. I'm fine either way. I'm very familiar with it. They make great product.
Is that amenable to you?
That's sufficient, yes.
So on the motion on the table is to add Laura Mill?
Nora.
Nora Mill.
Nora.
All right. And let's say right after the comma at Prater's Mill to make it simple.
There you go.
That's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. And all in favor of the motion to add the mill? Any in opposition? That motion does pass, and we are now at a. Is there any other comments or motions? All right. All in favor of the bill as amended, move to pass. All right. Any in opposition? This bill moves to rules.
Thank you very much. I look forward to feeding you a big old mess of cornbread.
I could think of no better following of a cornbread than sugarcane. Well, maybe Milk Day, but if Representative Franklin would like to come up and explain the importance of our National Sugarcane Syrup Day in Georgia, we're hearing House Bill 1034. Representative Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate this. Yeah, this is House Bill 1034, and it's a bill to request the fourth Friday of November to be National Sugarcane Syrup Day. And the reason why that day was chosen was because it's right after Thanksgiving, and traditionally that's when all the families are gathered together. And in the past, they came together and milled the sugarcane and created the syrup through that process. It took a couple of days, and so that's the reason why that day has been requested. But this came about because sugarcane has a long history in Georgia. It's almost a dying art right now. There's very few people that much less produce it that know how to do it, and it's really been kind of determined between just small families that do it traditionally just to have their family time together. Most of them never make any profit with it. It's just a family tradition that they continue on. So the hope is that we can make this day, to single it out to honor that tradition and honor those families and that skill that's still in process. So it won't be, hopefully it won't be a dying art. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Well, thank you for that. We do have a question from Chairman Chokus.
Actually, I have two questions. I grew up in South Georgia, and we never called it sugar cane. We always called it cane syrup.
Uh-huh.
So I just wanted to make a comment on that. But the second thing is, in my district, in Stewart County, we have an entrepreneur that makes a product known as Richland Rum, and molasses made from sugarcane is the main ingredient, and they grow that in Stewart County. He actually produces sugarcane. So at the appropriate time, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I share the affinity of products made of sugar cane. So, at Representative Townsend, question?
Add to that, if that's okay, Chairman Chokus, did you know Richmond Rum now has another location in Brunswick, Georgia?
Yes, they have a satellite.
And they say the rum goes really well with the original Brunswicks too, which could be the next bill for this committee.
All right, and now do we have a motion move to pass?
Second.
Chairman Chokus, seconded by Representative Townsend. Any comments? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. We're glad to give you a unanimous consent onto rules. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I add one thing too? So we're also doing a resolution for this. So if you have any constituents that know how to make sugarcane or would like to come up for that resolution, then please invite them. It'd be great. I'll make sure I pass the date on. It'd be great.
Thank
I
you.
think we got 4 or 5 coming up now.
Thank you. And to committee members, we will, if there is any items you would like to explore, given that this committee has a jurisdiction of our state symbols, we have been working, Michael has worked with us to look at the Veterans Hall, which was recently updated on the first floor of the Capitol. So I think that will be our next committee unless there's legislation pending at that time. So if there's anything else you would like to bring forth to the committee for review or consideration, make sure to get with us. Thank you, and we are adjourned.
Cool.